Hi, I'm Erika Del Sordo, and welcome to United Country Dix Realty Real Estate Talk. Thank you so much for being here with us. Today, I have the lovely and talented inspector and realtor, Lacie Lantroop. And I'm so excited she's here today because we've been talking with all these podcasts about the purchase of a home. Well, once you purchase a home or you put a contract down on it, you have to go through the steps if you have a loan, unless you're doing a cash sale. In that case, sometimes people also get inspections. But one of the first things that people get is an inspection. So Lacie with Chase Home Inspections is going to talk to me today about what that entails. Hi.
Hi everyone. So as Erika said, my name is Lacie, and I'm with Chase Home Inspections, owner of the company. And kind of just want to talk to everyone today about the home inspection process and what to expect along the way. Even if you've had a home inspection, we might have done it, or we might do it a little bit different than what you have experienced in the past. So really good to just know and learn about. So
a lot of people don't know what it entails. A lot of people just call the inspector, they pay, and then they have no idea what's going on. So kind of walk me through, without giving up too much of the business secrets, walk me through how it starts.
Okay, so generally how I start is the real estate agent or the buyer will reach out to me directly. So in that case, if the real estate agent contacts me, I will reach out directly to the buyer, introduce myself, and kind of give them a brief summary as to what to expect. So even if I kind of give you a rundown on what it is, I'm going to be at a property for 3.5, sometimes 4 hours on average. So if I go through everything with you over the phone, we're going to be there for quite some time.
She temporarily moves in.
Yeah, basically, yes. So for the day. And so I'll just kind of let them know, hey, it's my job to be, I'm going to be there for 3.5 hours. I'm going to start from the top, work my way down, do the same thing on the inside as well. So roof, obviously the big main price points in a house are going to be your HVAC system, your electrical, your plumbing, and your roof. Did I say one twice? No. Okay. So there's the four main. So like me personally, when I'm going in and looking at a house, those are going to be your four big ticket expenses. So those are very important. All of the other miscellaneous things come into play too. You know, are the outlets wired properly? Do all of your appliances work? Is there any shifting in the foundation? Do all your windows open?
That's a big one.
A lot of those tickets different things add up as well. So
we were at one house where we looked at a brick house and the foundation was just a mess.
Yeah, and honestly,
certain parts of it.
Yeah, and you know, a big thing that I tell people, especially first-time home buyers who, you know, they may have rented a house and they've never actually owned a home before, but there's always continued maintenance when it comes to owning a property.
Yeah.
And you'll really never hear me say as an inspector that this is a bad house, because there really is no such thing. You know, there's certain things that could be updated in a property, sure. Like, you know, if a seller's asking top dollar, you know, if the market for that house, but let's say the electrical needs to be updated or the HVAC needs to be updated, then at that point, it's not still a bad house. But that's when you get to use that as a negotiating tool, because even though they're asking top dollar, it may not be worth it because of the upgrades that have not been done there. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense there.
Here's an exciting fact. Lacie is also a realtor, and that's how you got your start.
That is. So I have a background of about 10 years, actually 10 years this year, in real estate. So that's where I started. And, you know, as a real estate agent, Erika can attest, you know, you go to these home inspections and you watch, you're there while they're doing their inspection. And time after time of going to a few or many and seeing how they do it. And I actually went to one in down South Florida a little bit, and they were extremely professional, and it just blew me away at how professional they were and how detailed they were. And I realized up here, you know, towards North Florida, we didn't have that really at the time, or at least not that I was aware of. So I was like, hey, I can do that, you know, and I want to. You know, you as a real estate agent, you know, you keep contact with your buyers after you close, and you're checking in, and they're letting you know, oh, well, we moved in about a month now and the roof is falling in, and
That's never good.
We have a plumbing leak and we got it inspected, and they're stressed, and you kind of take on some of that stress because you helped them buy it, if you recommended an inspector or two, then you kind of can't help but feel a little liable. And I had that happen a time or two. So that's when I was like, you know what? I've always had a passion for houses, started in real estate, now home inspector, do both. So I wanted to be able to provide that service to people in a very professional and detailed manner. So that's how we got to where we are right now.
And she does that. She really is one of the best. It's a pleasure working with her. And once she's inspected a home, I have a couple that have, I think, 3 contracts on houses, and at this point they've used Lacie every time, and they just love her. So if you really want it done right, you call Lacie. With Chase Home Inspections, I don't know if you want to talk about your partner with it, because he started as a realtor here with us as well, and I think that makes it even easier, and kind of why you guys are very good at what you do, because you were realtors first. So understanding the entire aspect of a business, I always say that, is usually the cornerstone of just making it perfect. That's what you guys do.
Yeah. And it also just, the home inspection really either, it's going to give you a lot of confidence moving forward in the home that you're buying, or maybe it might do the opposite, unfortunately. And every buyer is different. When I say no home is perfect, or no home is, there is no home that is perfect. Exactly. You can build a home brand new. A lot of people think that, hey, I want the perfect house for me, I'm just going to build one. Well, honestly, I'll go inspect a new construction house and find just as many issues there as an older home. And so
I tell people that all the time, by the way.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yes, when they get scared, they don't want to purchase a home, and I tell them sometimes that the minor things that they have found, or that you have found, that are scaring them, I explain to them that they could have just built a new home themselves, and it's not been standing for more than 5 days, ready to go, and it still has all these issues, and I need people to understand that. So especially if you're purchasing a house, let's say, that was built in 1950, what do you expect? Of course there are going to be issues. Some of them can be fixed. But that's what people do need to understand, and I'm happy that you brought that up, because people sometimes don't understand that even a brand new home is going to have issues.
Yep. And like with older homes, once you get past like in the 1960s, you're going to have to deal with the possibility of cloth wiring. You're going to have to deal with the possibility of cast iron drain lines, which those are 2 really big headaches in those years, and you're going to have a hard time with insurance. But negotiations, again, maybe the seller can help you with some concessions to get those things fixed. There's always a way to fix it if both parties can work together, and that's so important with real estate. And that's one thing I also try to do with the real estate agent, the buyer, the listing agent. Like, everyone should work together as a team, and when you have one side that does not want to work as a team, it's just not going to work out. But
this is true.
So that's just how everything should be done. And me as a inspector, and you'd mentioned about the couple that were on the 3rd house now, and some real estate agents are going to watch this and be like, I'm never using her. And I understand that, because I do have a background in real estate, but at the same time, every buyer is different, right? So some buyers are more qualified to do things in a house than others, and there's nothing wrong with if you can't swap out an outlet, or take care of those things, because again, everyone's different. And so you get the house, you'll have some buyers that want it move in ready, and so that buyer's going to need a different house. And I try to get a good feel for each buyer that I'm helping, so when we finish the inspection and I have buyers come out to the property and review it with them there on site, and getting to know them a little better helps me discuss the issues as we go along. So really just knowing who you're working with, and it helps my job, or me explain, and it helps pretty much everyone involved there.
It does. I want to talk about something that is brand new in your life, something that helps us out. We were talking this morning about inspections right before we went on air, and Lacie is also now certified as a structural engineer, and that's big, because some loans ask for that. So now you get an inspector and a structural engineer in one.
Well, so technically I'm not the structural engineer. I'm certified to go out to, when you purchase a mobile home, it's set on a permanent foundation, or in order to get a loan, it has to be on a permanent foundation. So I go out there and I do a report making sure that it has the proper tie downs, that it's HUD certified. So I'm a HUD certified inspector. Go out there and make sure that the mobile home is up to HUD guidelines. I send the report off to an engineer. The engineer looks at the report and makes sure it's all good, signs off, and then you have your report within 12 hours. So what makes a mobile home like HUD certified? So it has to have a permanent foundation, and I go under there and make sure there's a bunch of different ways. Popular way are just the metal straps that strap it to the ground in concrete. And then there also can't be decks or roof overhangs, anything attached to the actual foundation or the mobile home structure itself. So any deck or roof attachment has to be freestanding and self-supporting. So it cannot be attached to the mobile home. And I find often that they are attached, so they have to be detached and either, add in 4x4s or 6x6s, however you want to make that support there, but it has to be freestanding. So those are kind of the two things that I'm looking for when I do go out and do a structural.
Okay. This is why she's so thorough. I really do. I love how thorough you are, because, unless you are an inspector, unless you've gone through the training that you've gone through, we wouldn't know that. As a regular realtor, I see what you do, and then I go through the inspection report with people and, bit by bit, and then if we have questions, we call you. But I don't understand it in that aspect, and I think that this is wonderful that you're kind of debunking all of this for everyone. What else do you want to add?
Yeah, so one thing that I do try and do is, because again, I understand the real estate side, when I do an inspection, I really try to schedule that inspection to where the buyer can meet me at the end. So we review everything on site. So when they get that long report, they're not like, oh my gosh.
Because it's 155 pages sometimes.
Yes, it is. But also what people don't understand, and that's where the inspector should educate, that the home inspection report is also a bunch of knowledge. So you're buying a house. What are you buying? What do you need to maintain? People don't know these things. That's what the home inspection does. Yes, it's telling you the defects in the house and maybe what should be upgraded, but it also tells you how to, I use the verbiage, let your home live its best life, right? So,
I love that.
So when people, if they can't meet me there, a lot of times people are buying houses out of state. So I will call them, I give them the report and tell them to just look through it so they kind of understand what they're looking at. Call me and review it together, because the buyer should come to me. Yeah. They should not go to the real estate agent, because that puts you in a hard spot, because you don't really know what to tell them.
Then we have to do a three-way call.
Exactly, and there's really no point. Yes, the real estate agent plays a huge role there, but a lot of it should go on the inspector, because I did the report. They're relying on me as the inspector, and kind of takes some of that pressure off of you, where it should be me. And oftentimes I do find real estate agents that gets thrown on them because that buyer trusts you guys. Y'all have already kind of made that relationship. So I have to establish that with them as well. So that's another thing that I try and really push for. Some people, everyone's different, so some people really do just want to rely on their agent, but hey,
And that's okay. I was just going to ask, are you inspecting your own homes that you're selling as well?
No.
You can't. Okay.
Yeah, so too much
that just came to me.
No, that's a really good question, because sometimes people will come to me and ask me if I can do both, and I tell them, unfortunately, you have to kind of pick one or the other. It's just, I could get, a lawyer involved and all that stuff, but it's not really worth it to,
No, I totally understand. That's why I asked.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question.
What have we missed? I want to make sure that we talk about all of it. I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, I could sit here and talk all day about houses. There's so much that goes into a home inspection, but really and truly, as long as the main core, as long as your structure's good, you have heating and cooling. In the state of Florida, you have to have heat to get a loan. Right. Your electrical, your plumbing, as long as those core factors are there, those big ticket items, all the cosmetics, and a door doesn't close right or a window doesn't close right, those things you can work on over the time that you live there. But obviously everybody's different, and that's on them.
No, but I'm happy you brought that up, because sometimes I feel like people think I'm being mean about that. I don't know, but certain, like you said, a door isn't closing properly, and they shut down the whole contract, and it's like, you can fix that once you move in.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, it's always talk about everything is always a million little things. It's not just the door not closing, so maybe there's more to it, but it's so true. Sometimes there's this small thing and they just shut down the whole sale.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's
no need to do that.
no, and there's not at all. Like in the home that whoever lived, usually I'll say, okay, well, the home that you live in now, do you like it? If they say no, I'm like, okay, never mind. But if they do like the home that they live in now, maybe they're renting, I bet you there's a door that doesn't close, right? There's an outlet that's a little wobbly,
Right.
Don't get rid of a house just because of a few things that can be fixed. You're going to live there for, 5, 7, 20 years. So is it really worth getting rid of the house that you truly love, you see yourself raising a family in, or, moving your family in, over minor things that can be worked on? So it's just like right now, rates are high, right? And they, Yolanda, which you also had on the podcast, she loves to say, marry the house, date the rate. Well,
I like that.
It kind of works with inspections too, or repairs on a house.
Right.
Marry the house, you have the house, you can work on it over time. So it all kind of just flows together there in that regard.
It does. That's why real estate, I think, is starting to pick up for us. I think people are realizing the rates are maybe going to dip a little bit. They might go back up, but they are where they are right now. We're just not going to see 3% maybe for a while. So I think that we're starting to get a little bit busier in that aspect, and people are back into the home buying and selling market.
And you'll always hear people say, especially when you're in real estate, oh, the next year the market's going to crash. There's another crash.
It's a famous saying.
Happen. Well, who knows what's going to happen? But if you put off owning a home or because of a rate, you're never going to have one.
Right.
Rates don't just drop from 8% to 3% overnight, or over the course of a year. COVID was a totally different ball game, so you can't compare. But it's never a bad time to own real estate,
especially if you're renting. When we've had that discussion. So many people have had that discussion. Yolanda and I had that discussion in the other podcast. It's so much better to buy, even with where the rate is. Just make a purchase, unless there are those moments when someone has to rent. They can't get out of renting. But if you don't need to be, and you've got a perfect place where, and they can help you with credit, by the way. If you're worried about your credit, these lenders we have here locally are very good about helping fix credit. But try and buy. That's always the way to go. And then have it inspected by one of the best.
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
Everyone will enjoy that. I'll have all of your information up on the screen and in the About section. Please subscribe, by the way.
Yes.
This way folks can reach you. They can ask you questions maybe. They can call you for a home inspection. And I'll have your website as well. This way people can see everything.
Any questions, call me, text me, whatever you need.
I love it. Thank you very much for being with me today. Yes. Thank you so much. Have a great day.